Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, you're going to have to put up with a slight coarseness in my voice because I've got the remnant of a cold, but I hope I can get this organized. Now, first I want to express my appreciation to Trent University for the honor I have received. I believe that Trent University is to be congratulated for the way it has combined the intimacy of a small university with the high standards of scholarship, and I know that to be true. Next, I want to thank my friend Erica Knoll for her generous introduction. It seems that I made some small contributions to nature protection and our knowledge of natural systems. I confess that in both cases, I was one among others, which I, in a sense, represent. My main claim to fame is that I was there and I'm still here. This is not the first time I've spoken at Trent University. The first occasion was in 1968, and because of hecklers, we had to move to a private venue. I hope that won't happen today. I guess a lot of you are in private venues already. In 1968, I was chair of an international teach-in on world population at the University of Toronto. I was invited to speak about the event at several universities, including Trent. Our concerns then, and of course they are greater today, were that rapid population growth was underlying and exacerbating many social and environmental problems. Now, I must congratulate the members of the graduating class. I know that you will pursue a diversity of careers and confront many challenges. You've had good advice from the Chancellor. I can't claim that previous generations, including mine, have done a great job of solving the world's problems. We hope that you'll try your best, armed with the ideals and skills that you have acquired at Trent. I wish you all very well indeed. I know that many of you are environmental scientists or in related fields, and I'd like to say a few words about the protection of nature. I'm well aware that we face many other challenges, but this one may be relevant to all of us today that are here. If nature needs to be protected, it's from us. And the more of us there are and the greater our ecological footprint, the less room there is for the rest of life. So it's not surprising that many other species are at risk. Theoretical physicist Neil Turok, in his recent Massey lectures, spoke of the love of nature. I think there is a latent love of nature in all of us that needs to be awakened. Contact with nature tends to do that. That's why I'm very supportive of outdoor education and field courses at all levels of our education system. The more we are familiar with nature, the more we know about it, the more we will want to protect it. And why should we not protect it? It's the original habitat of man, and we still depend on it. Now, I've got to find page 3, which got misplaced in the wind. My friend, writer Fred Bosworth put it this way: man is an inescapable part of nature. Its welfare is his welfare. To survive, he cannot continue acting and regarding himself as a spectator. There are many practical reasons for protecting nature, and here I am reminding you of things you already know. Ecosystem processes regulate our atmosphere and climate. They sequester carbon, they store water, and they regulate its flow. We may be able to use plants to moderate the effects of climate change that we've caused. Climate change, incidentally, is a problem that needs to be addressed urgently. Nature provides products that we use. Our crops and medicines come from the natural world, and we need to protect the original sources. Many more such products remain to be discovered, hopefully before they disappear. There's much to be learned about the working of ecosystems, information that can help us manage the land that we use. There are less tangible values of our contact with nature. I believe our concept of beauty is partly based on our perception of nature. Aldous Huxley said it was half the basis of English poetry, and I think one could extend that to all the arts. Many find recreation in the out of doors, of course, and some describe natural landscapes as havens of tranquility, just like today. We hear of nature deficit disorder, implying that we need contact with nature for our well-being. How can we protect nature? I think we should tread as carefully as we can on the landscapes we use for living space, agriculture, and our other activities. Some of you may find your careers assessing how well we do with that. Beyond that, there should be places where nature takes precedence, areas that represent the diverse tapestry of living things that covers the earth. Nature reserves are outdoor museums that teach us about our history as well as natural history. They help to maintain biodiversity and save it for future generations of wild creatures as well as our own descendants. How well are we doing in protecting nature? Well, considerable progress has been made. And here I refer mainly to Ontario, and I think it's fair to say that Ontario has fared better than most parts of the world. National and provincial parks include many representative natural areas. I've just been to Point Pelee National Park that protects the southern forest and a major bird migration route. Ontario parks, some of which are very large, include wilderness, natural environment, and nature reserve classes. Local conservation authorities protect river valleys. The Nature Conservancy of Canada, which Erica mentioned in her introduction, represents a non-governmental organization in this field. Founded 50 years ago by a group of us at what is now Ontario Nature, it began as a small volunteer organization, but it has grown in size and sophistication to over 200 trained staff at present. NCC has so far protected over 1 million hectares of ecologically significant areas across Canada. Much of southern Ontario, of course, is covered by local land trusts, and my wife and I are currently negotiating with the Kawartha Heritage Conservancy to preserve a property we have in this Peterborough County. Other NGOs concerned with nature protection, and some of which I've been involved with, include Ontario Nature, Nature Canada, National Provincial Parks Association, World Wildlife Fund, Bird Studies Canada, and I know there are several others. So indeed, some of you may find your careers working for these organizations. Other government policies and legislation control land use, set requirements for environmental assessments, and protect endangered species. Somebody didn't like that last remark, I guess. Right here in Peterborough, you have the Natural Heritage Information Centre that monitors the status of Ontario species. Now, one might conclude from all this, I think there must be some politicians involved here, that nature is very well protected in this part of the world. However, there are still important areas that have been left out, and one can ask how safe are the safeguards. Recently, the federal government has reduced protection of navigable waters, and the provincial government has sought to increase exemptions for its Species at Risk Act. Clearly, nature protection depends on all of us as citizens to support conservation organizations and act as watchdogs on public policy. Of course, if we do nothing about climate change, it will impact nature in ways that are hard to predict. Now that I've got that off my chest, I wonder if there's anything useful an old guy like me can tell you about life. Actually, I've lived some of it. Probably nothing that you haven't heard before, but I'll make a stab at it. It won't take long, and you're supposed to listen to this part. In dealing with other people, I don't think anyone has improved on the golden rule. You know, the one about treating others the way you want to be treated yourself. It's not always easy, but it's the basis of our society. Don't hold grudges. They just make you and everybody else feel miserable. Believe in the common good and work to improve it. Be honest in your dealings. Try to base your decisions on evidence rather than prejudice. We could use more of that. If you screw up, don't worry. Nobody's perfect. Try to do better next time. Finally, no matter what happens, hang on to your sense of humor. It'll keep you sane. It seems a little humorous to me that I'm talking about nature protection when what we need is protection from nature. Anyway, I'm going to take my own advice and end with a little poem by Ogden Nash called The Purist. As a biologist, I would call it the taxonomist. I give you now Professor Twist, a conscientious scientist. Trustees exclaimed he never bungles and sent him off to distant jungles. Camped on a tropic riverside, one day he missed his loving bride. She had, the guide informed him later, been eaten by an alligator. Professor Twist could not but smile. You mean, he said, a crocodile. Thanks for listening.